I don't know if Jason's going to watch that in the in the rerun or whatever the save clip, but I think I nailed that. I think I
I was
did it
gonna
just
say
about
that
when
was
he does
pretty
it.
damn good, man. That was good job.
There's a little bit of black in the front there, but yeah, not bad for the timing of the intro.
Right.
Welcome to episode 44. So today we're going to be talking with Dane, Distant Whistle and South County Homebrew Shop out in Vicksburg. And before we get into too much other BS, I guess we'll just pull him in. I don't know, Dane. I don't know why we just don't start these shows with like you in the chat. I feel like it's something that we've done for like a year
Yeah.
now, and
Well,
it's
I mean,
just like
you
habit.
gotta have that super pro intro.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
One day we're gonna apparently, I don't know, I think Jason's talked to you before. We're coming down to the shop there and the
Oh yeah,
people, Sam and Travis from Ripjaw. We're gonna film something. We're gonna make it like
Eventually.
one of these days.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for
We've
having me.
been trying to harass you to come on for like a year now, I think.
I mean, yeah, something happened last year. It got weird, and things got busy.
Busy's good.
Yeah, busy is good.
Slow. Yeah. What are you drinking, man?
I am currently drinking my Champagne Wishes Berliner Weiss.
Ooh.
So nice,
There's
light and tart, perfect for a summer day.
I was down there the other day, and don't you have different like flavorings for it too?
Yes, yeah, we've got the Himbeer and Waldmeister syrups, so raspberry and woodruff. And the woodruff, I can't define it very well, so I just say that it's like a green Jolly Rancher, but no apple.
Does it actually turn the beer colors, or is it all? I've never. I don't know if I've had like a traditional woodruff or anything like that.
Yeah, they both turn them either pink or green. So.
Did you make the syrups yourself?
No, I bought them. I got a good tip from Tim over at Territorial on where to find the authentic German syrups. So
it's not even like a local place. It's like straight up from Europe.
Yep. Yeah, actually,
Wow.
the labels are in German. So
Legit shit. Good.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Super sweet. What about you, Jordan?
Starting off with a hams. That's
the unofficial sponsor of Michigan Brews.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we try to do for 2021 is like actually like try to get like some sort of like media representative from hams on the show or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got that, and then I've got one or two other things down here sitting next to me, so we'll see what I crack open throughout the rest of the show.
Did you brew anything for the Keepers of Craft lemon cookie competition? Or I'm sorry, cookie competition.
I was gonna say
I brewed the lemon cookie brew.
No, I did not. I did not get a chance to.
That's what I ended up.
Oh, good. How do you think it turned out?
The show, really good. I can't wait to share some around with you guys. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to trying all of them. I mean, we had like what 18, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. David, I think, just got back from a trip across the east side of the state this week. So, of course, he's drinking like hams or something. Although they're a little north of us. Who knows? So, Dane, we have this like whole and I'm sorry, I probably should mention this too. Everybody's going to notice Jason's not here tonight. He had a unavoidable conflict, so. You're stuck with Jordan and I and Dane, but we promise to drink a lot and slur. And
I mean, I haven't eaten anything today, so I plan on slurring a lot.
Perfect.
It's gonna be great.
Beautiful.
All right.
You're really close to your bar.
Yeah, I don't have to go far to get a beer.
So, yeah.
And say it looks like you're in your bar, right? Like
I don't mess around.
Your membership mugs, your club mugs, or club member mugs back there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go too far away from my mic, and that's where this is set up, so it works.
Perfect.
So a reminder too, we are streaming on Twitch now. Drew mentioned that he can't chat over on Twitch for some reason, so maybe we'll look at that while the show's going or something like that. But
I'll go in and take a look.
Yeah, perfect. So Dane, when we have like brewers and owners and stuff like that on, we sometimes have like a general list of questions that we like to ask because as homebrewers, it's questions that we think of basically. And Drew, and Drew's opening up his own brewery over in Vicksburg soon too. So how did you get into brewing? How did you become, I'm sure you started off homebrewing probably. Or...
Oh yeah. I started off homebrewing. God, when did I start? It's probably 2006. Sure, 2006. And I just got some like LD Carlson kit brew from one of the homebrew shops. I was up in Marquette at the time going to school at Northern. Just had like a little 1-room apartment. So doing a 5-gallon batch on the electric stovetop. Yeah. And they were pretty old kits. So started there, did a couple batches, and it was just too much for me to handle. So gave it up for a little while. And then when my brew partner and business partner, Andy, when he moved down to Portage, he got an apartment, and I was already living in Vicksburg, and he had no place to store all his homebrew equipment. And he had been brewing up north for years at that point, and had some good contacts with some of the guys that run Black Rocks Brewing, and one of the brewers who was with Cognition, and now I think he's with North Peak. I'm not sure. But yeah, he had good contacts there and got a lot of good info, and was doing a lot of home brewing. So when he moved down, he needed some place to store all his equipment. And I said, you know what, I got my garage, but if you're going to store your stuff here, we got to brew. So he said, all right, we'll brew. And about 2 weeks after that, we had a recipe for pale ale, and it was Memorial Day weekend. So we're like, all right, it's the Memorial Day pale ale. So we brewed that and had the keg system set all up. So it was about 4 weeks till we were ready to drink it. And I was like, all right, that's good. Let's do more. So we made more beer, drank more beer, got probably 8 or 10 batches in. And I was like, you know what? We were scaling up. We went from a 15-gallon pot and just doing 5-gallon batches to getting a whole kegel system set up and 10 gallons at a time. I'm like, well, let's try to figure out how we can sell this stuff and maybe make back our money from ingredients. Yeah. And that was a whole lot of red tape. So we were like, yeah, there's no way we'll be able to open a brewery. This is stupid. Let's just leave it alone and do our home brewing. But the seed was already planted. So I was like, you know what? Let's see how far we can take this before somebody says no. And next thing I knew, it took us about a year and a half before we actually had a space and all the licensing set up. But nobody ever said, hey, you don't know what you're doing. You got to stop. So we just kept going. And August 26th, 2016, we served our first pint in the tap room. And that was actually, by the time we opened up here, we had changed the recipe of the Memorial Day Pale to be what would eventually become our Paramount IPA, which is like our flagship IPA at the Brewhouse. So I think we went from Citra and Galaxy and a little Mosaic to Citra, Amarillo. Well, Amarillo in the boil and Citra for the dry hop. But yep, it morphed a little bit, but became our flagship. So that one's still here.
Is there any meaning behind like Paramount or anything like that?
Yeah. When we were homebrewing, we, as homebrewers, you tend to find whatever tools you can to make the brew day work. And we decided, we got this, I had this little chunk of 1x2, just pine 1x2. And we used that to wedge up our mash tun so that we could drain out more wort. And we ended up getting probably an extra 32 ounces just by using this stick. And we made a joke of it. We're like, oh yeah, we got to have this. It's paramount to our brew day. And so we were like, all right. So then every little finagled tool that we made, be it a piece of wood or a brick, that was Paramount 1 or Paramount 2. And so when we got the IPA set up, we're like, all right, well, there's only one name for it. It's got to be the Paramount. And for the longest time, we actually turned that little chunk of 1x2 into the tap handle specifically for Paramount. So, people would come in and see we got tap handles, and we had some that were, nicely carved and looked nice. And then we had this stick, and they're like, why do you have that piece of shit stick as your tap handle? And I'm like, dude, don't talk bad about that. That's the Paramount.
Right.
And I don't know where it's at right now, but it's still floating around here somewhere.
It's like a key to why the beer, tastes good.
Yeah, some baseball players don't wash their socks. We don't get rid of a small chunk of 1x2.
You don't clean your lines. Yeah.
Hey, no. We do that. It's just the flavors from all the past beers.
It's like the, what do they call that soup? There's some place has a soup where they've never actually like dumped it out and cleaned the pot or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Or like charcoal grills or cast iron, and just wipe it off. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's the seasoning.
Yep.
So August, then you said, is going to be your 20.
This is
your
number
5th
5.
anniversary?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, and now we can actually we've got some serious prospects to actually have an anniversary party this year. So
yeah,
That's
thankfully.
awesome.
I have a question about that later too. But with regards to your anniversary, you guys do an anniversary beer every year. You guys do kind of something special, right?
Yep. Yeah. Every year we started year 1, it was just a smash. And I believe we used Irish ale malt and Mosaic, I think. But so we did a smash the first year, and it was just our smash-iversary. So for year 2, we started with the Smash-iversary 1 recipe base and added an extra hop and an extra grain. And I think that was Citra and Golden Promise. So then it was Citra, Mosaic, Golden Promise, and Irish ale malt. And for year 3, added another. Year 4, we did another, even though we didn't really have an anniversary. We still did Smash-iversary number 4. And this is year 5. So we're going to start with that same base and keep going with what we've done. So now it's definitely not a smash, but essentially 5 smashes stacked on top of each other.
You have any, are you scared for what'll happen, 20 years down the line or something? Like what kind of beer you're going to...
Eventually we're going to have to just let it go. But the joke will be over, but we'll still be putting out an anniversary beer.
I don't know. I feel like something like Dogfish Head would just kind of keep going,
Well, at that point
absolutely.
we're putting in, God, would it be 10 pounds of every grain? And
yeah.
it would be convoluted, to say the least.
So, anniversary wise, you guys have Space Outdoors now.
Yep.
Which I don't think you originally started with.
No, we did. That was a special thing. For the anniversary party, we always pull a special event permit, which is different. So that way we can actually use the parking lot out the back door.
Oh, okay.
And so that opens up a lot more space.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is the backyard, or I'm sorry, the backyard is the back parking lot zoned for the new Vicksburg downtown drinking area thing? Or
No, I guess they must have decided that they didn't want people hanging around their cars with an open beer, and
okay.
But yeah, the parking lot is not part of the social district, but all of Prairie, which is one of the main roads in town, Main Street being the other.
Mm-hmm.
Prairie Street has Vickers Lakeside Tavern, Main Street Pub, and the Village Hideaway. So 3 bars on Prairie, and Main Street has us and Jasper's Pizza. So they basically made a big T through town. So anywhere you walk on Main Street or Prairie between any of the bars is fair game.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
awesome.
really cool. I didn't know that had came to down there. So this is news to me, but that's really cool.
Yep. Yeah,
So I'm gonna
that
have to
took
make it down there.
off. We've had it for about a month now. It started May 1st.
Okay, I'm not that far off then. Okay, that's good. It took me like Kalamazoo did the downtown commons or whatever. I can't recall how long ago, but my wife and I just discovered that like a few months ago. So like we had a kid. He's just now a year old, so we've kind of been hermits for
Yep.
12 months.
I've got 3 of them. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, I can't imagine that. Wow, that's yeah. But yeah, that's really cool. Having that's real. We'll have to make it down there to check you guys out. And
Yeah. We actually, I think we've got it for another 3 weeks, and then they're going to be doing a construction project in town where they're tearing up most of Prairie and all of Main Street. So it's going to go away for a little while, but when it comes back, we're going to have a full streetscape renovation.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's basically going to be somewhat modeled after like the mall down up in Kalamazoo.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Yep, one-way street, a lot of places just sit and just park and hang out. So that'll be nice when it reopens and we can do the social district again, because then there'll be benches and a lot of seating. Whereas right now, pretty much the only seating is tables that I have put out because I had them left over from our larger outdoor seating space.
Yeah. I feel like that parking lot behind your brewery is pretty like underutilized too. Like I don't think that you guys will be starved for parking, even if some of it goes away on that.
Oh no. I think right now we're losing 2 parking spaces out front after the renovation, so it's not going to hurt.
Oh, that's cool. I just cracked a Pilsner Urquell. I don't know, last time I've had one of these. I brewed a Czech Pils recently, and I wanted something more like legit to compare it to. I don't know how good it is or how old it is. The back of the bottle says September 2821. So I'm assuming September 28th, 2021. And I don't know if that's like a best by date.
That's the date you got to throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Actually, Pilsner Urquell is real good. And there's not much that can fall out of it that's going to change the flavor profile. So it's going to be good. But since you got one, I'm going to get one. I will be right back.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to hit Dane up for... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, everybody on the Pilsners. So, yeah, I'll keep it going.
How's your hams treating you?
Oh, hammy. There's no ham.
Drew did say that chat's working on Twitch.
I saw that. I was actually on our Twitch profile, like messing around with the settings, and I saw his message come in. So
Drew being Doster Brewing Company, who I mentioned on the chat earlier. So he's still working diligently. Welcome back. Yeah, while we're on the lager train here, are you?
Cheers.
Is that what you got?
Yep, I got my honey pills.
Honey pills. I had that when I was there. Good. Yeah, it was super good. Did you guys recently get like a equipment upgrade or something? You're doing more lagers than you used to. No? Okay.
So remember earlier when I was talking about piecemealing and finagling whatever you can to make it work?
Yeah.
And that's what we did to make lagers.
Okay.
So we had been given a glycol chiller that just sat in the brewery doing nothing for the longest time. And I decided, I'm sick of... we were putting out lagers using 3470 yeast, and we could ferment it, 65, and it would be passable, but a little bit sweet. They left behind some esters, and it was fine, but I was like, you know what? I want to just try something. So we had this glycol chiller, which Drew actually has now, because we were then given a different glycol chiller. And if you're watching, thank you. But yeah, we got given a different glycol chiller, and we were like, all right, now I'm gonna make this work. So I got a stainless steel coil, a 50-foot coil, a 3/8 inch tubing, and basically made it into an immersion chiller that I'm running glycol through. So that goes into our old plastic fermenters, sits in the middle of the beer, and then we run the glycol through it, and basically we have full temp control. So our lager fermenter lives in the back hallway now. So yep. But yeah, we looked at, maybe doing some jacketed tanks and spending some money, and we're like, we have other stuff that needs fixing right now. So it was time to lager, but make it work. So
I can vouch for the beer being really good. I think that you guys are probably one of the more underrated breweries in Michigan. You're kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but
yeah, we're the best kept secret.
It's worth the trip out. Yeah. Speaking of, being off the beaten path a little bit, do you find that like locals have a different taste in what they want from beer versus maybe like people, in more populated areas like a Grand Rapids or something like that? Or
I don't know. I feel like a lot of our locals, they know what they're getting when they come into a brewery. So they're, looking for an IPA or looking for something dark, or they've got their preferences. But the only thing that we've ever had that doesn't move fast is Belgian yeast. So if we do Saison, we did a Saison, and it took a while to get rid of that batch. We did a white IPA with a Belgian yeast, and it sat longer than we'd like. I think that took us a month and a half to get rid of the batch. And normally we're looking right around the 1 month to 3 week mark. So that one sat around a little bit, but they all go. We've been asked about 1 billion times, what do you have that's like Bud Light? And I mean, that's one of the things that kind of got me onto the lager kick to get this lagerator going, because I'm sick of answering it. So I my first beer with the lager machine was an American light lager. Just did the cold one. So somebody comes up, hey, can I get a cold one? It's like, yeah, you can.
That was the name of the beer.
Yep.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just something that's easy and balanced and mellow. And it's kind of one of those gateway situations like, oh, if you have this flavorful American IPA or American light lager, then maybe you'll try, the coffee blonde or move on to something different.
You, besides Oddside, probably, you guys are one of the first breweries, I think, that was like regularly having a coffee blonde on tap. How did you, like, what got you turned on to that? It's called, what's it called?
That's the Backpackers Blonde.
Yeah.
Oh God, what did we have? I think Andy had some bean flicker and decided, you know what, I like this, but it's just too much. Because bean flicker's got vanilla and it's got coffee beans and something else. But he was like, it's a little too much. It's a little sweet. So he was like, well, let's just try a blonde and try some coffee in it. It was actually one of the last beers that we ever brewed as homebrewers.
Cool.
So we were like, all right, and tested it out. And I think we did, for a 5-gallon batch, we did like 3 ounces of whole coffee beans and just put it in basically as the dry hop, let them sit in a hop sack for 4 days before we racked into a keg. And we had done coffee beers before and tried, doing it with just coffee grounds, tried doing it with cold brewed coffee. And I think one of the last ones we did was a coffee stout, and it tasted real coffee when we started. But we did cold brewed coffee, and the coffee ended up, what happened was the coffee ended up settling to the bottom of the keg. And so the first half of the keg was real coffee. Like, we're like, oh yeah, this is great. It tastes like espresso. It's fantastic. And then the last half of the keg just tasted like a dry Irish stout. And we're like, what happened? Oh yeah, because the gravity change. But yeah, once we started using the whole bean and just floating it and basically just steeping it like a cold brew. We found that the backpackers never took on any of the color from the coffee beans. It stayed nice and blonde, but got this real robust coffee note. And it didn't fall out. It just stuck around, and we're like, all right. So we kept that one as one of our flagships, and that was, I think we brewed it as one of our first batches here, just because we wanted something that was a little bit different. And so we were like, all right, opened the doors with coffee blonde on tap. And I think that one sold out in 2 or 3 weeks. People were just crazy about it. And now anytime it's off tap, people are like, where's Backpacker's Blonde? We need a Backpacker's Blonde back. It's like, just have a Pro Porter. I don't care. And they're like, no, we need it.
Does that sell about as fast as Paramount, do you think?
It's pretty close. I think over our entire time being open, we've sold maybe 6 or 9 barrels more of Paramount. But they're neck and neck. It's pretty much we have to brew all of them once a month. So Paramount, Backpackers, and the Shadow Dog Brown Porter. Those are three go-tos.
I actually didn't think that Shadow Dog. I mean, not that I like it. I just I wouldn't have guessed it would turned around that quick.
Oh yeah,
is one of the darker beers that you have usually. Then is that kind of why? Like,
yeah, it's because normally we wait for winter to do the stouts, so we'll get into the heavier stouts in the wintertime when the weather gets cold. But Shadow Dog, it's light enough that you can drink it if you're a dark beer drinker. You can drink it anytime. But yeah, I've had some people come in like the middle of July, and they've said, you know what, you're the only brewery I've been to in the past month that has a dark beer on tap. And it's like, all right, if it's going to be Shadow Dog, then that's a good one to represent. But
cool.
Is the beer designed that way, or was that just kind of a happy accident?
What's that?
Like for it to be, I guess, a good summer dark beer,
year-rounder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We decided early on that what we wanted was to have something hoppy, something balanced, and something malty. And Shadow Dog, we had brewed that a couple different times as homebrewers, and we're just like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and try this and see how it plays. And in the early days, we had a lot of, no, it's not named after Bob's dog. Unfortunate. He would love to think that it's named after Bob or after Shadow, but it's not. So we decided that it was a lot of playing around to see what exactly would work in Vicksburg when we opened. Yeah. And we've basically found that those 3 play really well. So at any given time, you can have somebody come in and they're like, "Oh, I'm a hophead. I love hops." And it's like, okay, well, all we got is Paramount. Have that. And they're like, "Yeah, that's real good." Or it's like, "Well, I'm not a big fan of hoppy beers or dark beers." Well, here, try the Backpackers, and it's light enough and balanced enough that it works.
Yeah, it definitely hits the spot. How big of a brew house are you? Like 3, 5?
Yep, we're a 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah, when we first started brewing here, we had gotten the 1-barrel system from Chris O'Neill at One Well, and we had been shopping around a little bit. And I talked to Chris, and he's like, "Oh, I got my old homebrew set up. If you wanna use that, I'll sell it to you." And so he sold that to us, and it was 2/3 of a brew system.
On a 1-barrel system.
What's that?
He was homebrewing on a 1-barrel system.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know that's a lot. Well, it's funny because we had talked to Gonzo back in the day before we started, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got a shed out back that I brew on a 1-barrel system for my homebrew setup." And we're like, "Oh my god, you use a 1-barrel for your homebrew?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, okay, so that's just a thing.
I have a lot of friends. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Or you really have one beer that you brew that you love the most.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got Chris's 1-barrel system, which there's a good story about that. But we made it what we had to do was we would brew 3 times in a day to be able to fill our 3-barrel fermenters. So
Oh my god.
that got real shitty real fast. We started brewing in July of 2016, and we'd do 3 brews a day, 3 days, take 1 day off, and then do another 3 in a row. So essentially, we were pulling down just ridiculous hours, and we'd start at 6 a.m. and end at 2 a.m.
Wow.
And it
That's a
sucked.
long
It was
day.
terrible.
Yeah.
Especially in July when we've got, not the best ventilation. And it got to be probably 110 in the brew house. And it was just all day long. So we quickly upgraded to a stout 3-barrel direct fire. And that's what we have now. But we were done with that 1-barrel system. I hate it. I'm so happy it's gone. But the story on that is that we got it from Chris. We sold it to Patrick up at Tantric. He sold it to Jake Losey at Presidential, and Jake still has it, which he converted to electric. So now he still uses it for his pilot batches, or some of them. But yeah, it's still out there. It's floating around, and it's just these 2 aluminum pots that are just floating around the world. And one day Jake's going to have to give it to somebody new.
It's the Brotherhood of the Traveling Pots.
That's right.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I love hearing those stories though of these bits of equipment that just travel around and help all these other home brewers and new breweries get off the ground. I mean, it really showcases the community that we have. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it, with few exceptions, that's pretty much how it just operates in the brewery circles, as far as a lot of camaraderie. And here, I'm gonna put a flashlight there so I'm not so dark. Or precariously balanced the phone. Oh, there we go. Hey, I'm in the light.
Hey.
Yeah, you look great.
Oh, thank you, Brian.
Yeah. I don't know where Drew's system was before One Well, but the 3-barrel system that Drew has originally belonged to Chris O'Neill as well.
Mhm.
And then I'm sure Chris acquired it from somewhere. Excuse me. In fact, I think that it came from maybe it was Sunset Boulevard Brewing, and when One Well acquired that place. But then, who knows where that came from?
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember him talking about how they inherited a lot of their equipment when they first started because it was there.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a long time ago.
You guys are doing a Old Mill. Wow, maybe it was Old Mill. David says Old Mill. So it wouldn't surprise me because they shut down around that time. And then the brewer from Old Mill went to work for Sunset Boulevard Brewing. And they had the best peanut butter stout recipe that you could ever try. And it died with that brewery. I don't know if I would still like it. I liked it, back when I was first getting into adjuncted beers or whatever. But
yeah, I used to like Dragon's Milk. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still drink one if somebody hands it to me, but that's not my first choice.
I'll drink a triple mash occasionally, like if you can find one of those.
I do enjoy a triple mash.
A little sweet and like 18%.
Yep,
those are all right. You guys are doing cider now too, right? Or you have been, or Andy's been experimenting with like mixed drink ciders.
No, that was we started experimenting with like the cocktail ciders.
Yeah.
A while back, we had our cellarman / assistant brewer Nicholas, and he's no longer with us now. Hey, I'm going to do a shameless plug for him. Go to crafterdie.com. He's doing a lot of really nice. He basically takes like nostalgic cartoons and does scenes that he puts on beer glasses.
He
So
posted on Kalamazoo
he's-
Beer Enthusiast. I've seen that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So he's a really talented artist and does great work. So check that out. But yeah, he started doing some of our like cocktail ciders. So we did, what do we have? We have one that was a pineapple upside down cake. We had one that was ginger, cranberry, and lime. Tasted basically like a cranberry Moscow Mule. Real good. But yeah, he was doing those. I've actually taken over doing the ciders now, so
Okay.
definitely not as sweet and not putting as many ingredients in. But yeah, we still got the ciders going, and we're
Cool.
actually this upcoming weekend putting out a farmhouse cider that I've tried a couple different times. Basically, did what did I put in that? I think it was BE 256. I want to say it was 256 for the yeast, but basically just the apple juice and the Saison yeast. So it has like a really nice pear, little pear, apricot, kind of spicy phenol note, but real easy drinking, semi-dry, just straight up cider.
I feel like that hits the spot during the warmer months.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
100%. Something just like that. my girlfriend's gonna dump me for Nicholas. I think. We went out there and had that cider at one point in time, and I tried to replicate it. I think 3 separate times, and they came out super good, but not the same.
Yep, you need the pineapple chunks, you need the maraschino cherries, and then I believe he made a just syrup out of brown sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg.
Oh,
and just like dump that in and let it go.
Some vanilla too.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He kind of freewheeled it and never wrote anything down. So
like a true artist.
I gotta apologize for anybody who's looking for the pineapple upside down cake or any of those, because we don't have the recipes anymore. They don't exist on paper anywhere. Maybe we'll get them back for a legacy. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Anniversary cider. So not only are you guys running the brewery, but you have the homebrew store next door too, right?
Yep.
So what inspired you to open that up? How long's that been going on?
What are we at now? 2.5 years? I think 2.5. We opened it because when we had the brewery operating, there was a little pet store next door. And the guy who runs the hardware store in town, he's the owner of the building next door. So she moved out and he came over and was like, hey, if you guys want to move sideways, I got an empty space. And I said, well, we don't really want to get too into like making your building part of our tap room. And I still wanted to do something. We had actually talked about doing a homebrew shop before. It'd probably been a year before we actually got a space. We talked about it and we're like, oh yeah, let's do it. Let's find a spot. And then that one opened up and we're like, all right, we'll do that. So yeah, we got to the point where we had an option to go into that building and we were like, well, we could spend some money and like figure out what to do to expand the brewery, or we can open this homebrew shop. So we opened the homebrew shop, knowing that essentially Bell's was like the best option in the area. There was the one in Bronson that ended up shutting down. But we were basically like, there's not many options, so let's go ahead and try it. Worst case scenario, I get an office, which before that, I had my laptop sitting under the bar with all the paperwork and tax documents and everything just sitting on the shelf under the bar. So it's like one spilled beer away from just chaos. So I was like, worst case scenario, I pay a little money and I get an office. So we did that and opened the homebrew shop. And we've been going for a few years now. And I like to think that we have a good selection. But anybody's looking for that we don't have, let me know, and we'll get 3 of them so that we're sure to have it.
I will say, like, coming like it where I live, it's quite literally about 15 minutes to either you guys or Bell's. I will say, big benefit to going down to you guys, South County. I don't have to deal with downtown Kalamazoo traffic and
Yep.
that whole fuckery that goes on down there. So,
Yeah.
like, Vicksburg's super easy. Get in, get out, get your stuff. I don't know.
And if you
It just
and if you
makes
have
it
any
more enjoyable.
questions, you know that the employee
Yeah, exactly.
knows
Yeah,
exactly what he's
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
Plus, I find it cool. I think last time I was down there, you had a couple things fermenting, like maybe it was some wines or something like that.
Yeah, we had a couple wines up on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. Which
no
is
way.
it's just cool to be in a homebrew shop, and there's you're
Yeah, where you can
practicing it
walk
right
in and
there. Yeah,
smell fermentation.
yeah, exactly. It smells like home. Just
Right.
like yeah. So I really enjoy it. So thank you for opening that up.
Yeah, and we're happy to be there.
Is that the wine that you sell in the bottles, or you get that from somewhere else?
No, I make those ones in the basement here.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a friend that really likes the. I'm gonna butcher this Gewürztraminer.
Oh, the Gewürztraminer.
Wait, you
Yeah,
guys have a Gewürzt?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of the first
Oh,
ones I ever made.
no. Oh, that's
Yeah.
okay. So just to get on the track, it's one of my wife and I's like favorite wines. Anytime we go wine tasting anywhere, and I have that, we buy a bottle. So
Yep.
we're gonna be paying you a visit here soon.
Yeah, that was actually up until last year or a year and a half ago. It was time is irrelevant to me. It's
Especially after
point,
this past year.
I know
Yeah.
at some point I'm going to have to look at a calendar, but so at some point between 2016 and now, I started making wine because it had been a while since I'd brewed anything, and I was just like, you know what, I want to get back into it and make something. So it was wine time, and I was like, all right, let's try this. I'd never made a wine before, and the first wine I ever did was a Gewürztraminer. And I'm like, all right, let's see how this goes. If it comes out good, I'll keep going. Otherwise, we'll ship in wine, which is an option. We could buy in wine and bond and have it on tap, which is what we started with. We got some from Fen Valley, and those sat for a long time. And people just weren't into it, getting wine on tap. It was a little strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I made the Gewürz and fermented it, got it bottled up and sold it here. And next thing I know, all my Gewürz is gone. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I got to keep going. So currently, I think we've got 8 different varieties with a mead on the way.
I was just gonna ask if you guys were doing any mead.
Yep. Yeah,
Is this your first mead?
No, this is actually my third. This will be the second that's going on sale.
Okay.
The first one I did was a rosehip mead, and that one is delicious. It's still around, but it's got a lot of sediment, and our corker was just dog shit. So each bottle has a little bonus chunk of cork floating on the top.
Oh no!
So I was like, you know what? I can't sell this. It's great, but I got to give it away or I got to drink it myself. The second one I did was what we called the Midgard mead, which was just like plain Jane honey, straight up, just fermented. And that one sold out in 3 days during the pandemic. And I was like, all right, time to make more mead. So the one that I got coming up is a hibiscus mead. It's blood red, looks great, tastes great, has a little floral, little tartness from the hibiscus, almost reminiscent of like a cranberry, but real good. It has the nice honey backbone following it up, super smooth.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah. Always something new.
Love hibiscus. I mean, just about anytime I find something with that flavor, I try it just because it's a unique enough flavor, but it's I don't know, how would you say, I don't know, it does different things in different styles of
Yeah, it's versatile.
beverages. So yeah, it is. So it's, I don't know, I enjoy trying it. And I usually like whatever I have with hibiscus, so I'm in to try it. I'll be down for it.
Yep.
I don't know if I can place that flavor. I don't know if I've had anything with it. So yeah, I'll definitely be in to try that.
Yeah, this one we did the 750s and some 375s. So got some little baby bottles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I read somewhere that that's kind of the new trend with wines is buying them in the 375s, so you can buy more and try more without being stuck with a full bottle.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
Or your Shrams, and you sell them in 375s for $45, and
Right.
and that's how you roll.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
'cause they don't have water in them.
all I have to do is paint these bottles with some matte black, and I'll just be like, "Oh, it's Viking blood.
Yeah.
Give me $65."
Who do we have to bribe to try that first mead, cork and all?
I mean, I thought I broke one out at one of the homebrew club meetings.
Okay.
I don't know
Next
for
time-
sure, but I've got a case and a half of it, so just ask.
Once so there have been what was the name of the club that used to be out there before?
We didn't name it. We never got around to naming it.
I think we just called it South County.
I was gonna say, I thought it was called South County. I was out to a couple
Yeah.
meetings.
Hopefully,
that was
maybe
real
we'll visit
unofficial.
again. Yeah, I liked it though. It was
yeah.
really fun. I met some good people, and I know there were people that really appreciated not having to drive all the way to Kalamazoo or something.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, one of these days we'll get it back going, but
Yeah.
I mean that day is coming. It's just wait till everything's cleared up.
Yep, 100%. We'll have to bug you when those start again. I want to try one of those for sure.
I saw Brian. I saw you open up a new bottle. Did you go over what you're drinking now?
It's a transient beer. So and I feel bad, Dane. I'm sorry. It was so last minute. If I would have thought about it, I would have bought some of your beer so I could be drinking it on the show.
Oh, that's okay. I'll keep
But then
promoting my own.
Yeah. So, I have a mug there now, so I'll be back in. But Beam of the Light by Transient.
They do some good work down at Transient.
They do.
I don't
and
think
they're doing
I've
a lot
had
of.
Transient.
They're distributing more up here these days now too.
Yeah, the H&B Market there on Portage
H&B.
Road.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
You walk
Nate-
in there, they have 10 different Transient beers.
Yeah, Nate, he knows his craft beer and he's happy to get all the good stuff.
Oh,
I have not been out there. I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Yeah, a lot of times I think in the summertime, I forget when the last time I was out there, but he does a lot of real good beer sales. So like he'll have
mhm.
a lot of stuff for really dirt cheap, and it's good stuff.
Not that
But
it's
yeah,
good stuff.
yeah,
I'm relatively sure I
he'll-
picked up. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say he'll shop around and get good craft beer, and you won't walk out of there disappointed.
I got a 24 pack of Blue Moon from there for $6 once.
Wow.
Yeah. Right now he
can't complain.
has. Yeah, he has 6 packs of this really good IPA for like $4, and I can't remember what it's called for the life of me. My buddy Matt was telling me about it. Yeah, 100% with you, Dane. Like just really good sales. I don't know how they do it, but
I'm gonna have to check that. There was a point in time back when Brian, I don't know if this is when I lived with you. It was close. I was living up to that side of Kalamazoo, and Tiffany's Market had
Mhm.
like pallets of all this stuff that was on sale, like 6 packs of random stuff for like $4. And
yeah.
I don't know what it was. I probably came out of there spending like $100 on some shit and just carted it around with me. Anyways, I think it was just this past like year that I got rid of like the last bit of beer that I had been carrying around for like 7 years.
How was it?
It was disgusting. It wasn't even a beer. It was one
It's
of
like
those
an 8-year-old cherry wheat or something.
No, it was what was it? It was one of those hard root beers. or whatever. 'Cause I think
like
I think
not
the
your
6-pack.
grandfather's or something.
Yeah, I think the 6-pack was like $3 or some shit like that. So I bought like 4 of them.
Hey,
And
remember when everybody was making hard soda?
yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh, how far we've come.
It was,
Have you done a seltzer yet, Dane?
I've tried, but I
Good
suck
question.
at it. Every seltzer I've done is just yellow and tastes like yeast. And I could go for some filtering. I could do a lot of different things, but I haven't got around to playing around with it too much.
I've we talked. I know you probably know Lance Shayner, or at least have talked to him at some point in time. So you guys carry Omega. We had him on the show at one point in time, and his big tip was to do a really strong seltzer base, like 12% or something like that,
mhm.
because apparently the off flavors and stuff like that, they don't they're not linear as far as like ABV content
Yeah, it
goes.
doesn't
So what you
scale.
can do is like, make a really strong batch, use a like Lutra or something like that. Like
Yeah, Lutra
they've
and the
had really
proper
good extension
starter.
of Lutra, and proper starter, and then cut it down, dilute it back down to like 6%, and at least on the homebrew scale,
Yeah, I've heard that working
that
really
was really
well
good.
and seen some really good results from those.
Jason, I don't. He'll have to bring some in at some point in time, but yeah, he's had good results with that exact method.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do. Yeah, yep. I've
I've
done a
not
few.
done
I've done a
them.
few of them. I feel like they're pretty easy and pretty. Um, I don't know. I like them. Although I'm a big fan of seltzers, so
Yeah, I won't turn one down. Actually, I've made some mistakes on seltzers. I ended up, God, what was it? Must have been last summer when everything was falling to shit, and I was just like, you know what? I need something better than just a seltzer. So I ended up putting in a shot of gin in one of the lemon lime White Claws, and it was like like a White Claw G&T. And so I gave a little squeeze of lime, lemon lime seltzer with gin, knocked that back. I'm like, oh, it's bonus alcohol. Yeah,
yeah. I was gonna say that sounds wonderful.
it got out of hand quickly.
Yeah, I can say I love gin and tonic. It's a weak point, but yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Speaking of Omega, Dane, I'm gonna ask a favor, to keep an eye out for this, because rumor has it it's going to be coming out in the next couple months here. You know how Omega's been doing like genetically modifying like yeasts and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, like the Sundew.
Yeah. I guess they're going to have a genetically modified like London like 1318 yeast that produces beta glucosidase,
Okay.
which can release bound terpenes in hops. And so I don't know what they're going to call it or anything like that, but I've heard rumors that they're making it and testing it and going to put it out sometime soon. So definitely, if you see something like that,
Oh yeah, we try
buy
to
some packs and we'll be out to get it, I'm sure.
we try to stay pretty on top of everything that Omega offers. So as soon as they get a new product for homebrew use, we're pretty much on top of it.
Sweet.
Awesome. I remember you guys were one of the first places I found Philly yeast at.
That stuff is good.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of my favorite yeasts. It's amazing.
Yep. I did one with it was just a blonde ale with Kohatu and Wakatu hops and the Philly sour yeast. And that thing is a lime bomb. Just lime all day, all the zest, and no limes in it, just the hops and the Philly sour. But so good. I've still got a bunch of bottles of it, and I crack one open every now and then just to be like, yeah, how does this work over time? And it's been, I think I did that one 9 or 10 months ago, and it's still nice and crisp.
Still holding it up?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. Is that something you do regularly with your beers? Do you have like a cellar that you pull off and see how they age?
Most times what I'll do is if I want to do something really experimental, I've got a little 5-gallon electric system next door that I'll pull out and fire up a 5-gallon batch, bottle it, and then I'll just leave it sitting in my office because it stays pretty temperate. And then whenever I want to test it and see how it goes, I'll pop one in the fridge and let it ride.
I was going to ask what you did for like pilot beers and stuff like that. So I guess
Normally nothing.
Yeah.
usually it's like, okay, we're doing 3 barrels of this, and it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for the most part, I'm assuming it has.
Yeah,
Seems like it has.
we've only had 2 batches that we've ever had to dump. When we first opened, we had one that was it was supposed to be a lemon shandy, and so we started with just a blonde base and planned to add a bunch of lemonade in the bright tank. And when it got into the bright tank, we took a sample of it, and it tasted so much like vinyl. It was just plastic all day long. And we're like, this is disgusting. Well, let's see what happens when we put 30 gallons of lemonade on top of it. So we topped it up with lemonade, transferred it all to kegs, and tried it. And I like to say that it tasted like a pool toy that was coated in lemon pledge. It was awful. It was just the worst. And so that one went down the drain. We had another blonde that was following that up almost immediately and transferred it to the bright tank. I took a sample. It tasted like vinyl. I'm like, nope, we're not doing this again. Because at that time, I had a real cobbled together keg cleaner. And it took me probably 20 or 30 minutes to clean one keg. So I learned my lesson on the shandy, having to empty out 6 kegs and sit there doing this ramshackle bullshit keg cleaning. And I was like, I'm not putting this in kegs, straight down the drain. And those were the 2. Those were probably within the first month and a half that we were open. And since then, we've been able to sell pretty much every drop. So
good.
Not a bad record.
Forgot what it was. Like why you've done more blonde since then.
Yeah. We've decided that it was because those ones went in when we didn't have strong temperature control in our fermentation room. So I think they just got too hot and the yeast stressed out, started creating like a plasticky vinyl character.
Interesting.
But since then, we've had our fermentation room at a steady 65 and never had a problem.
Is there like a particular beer that you haven't brewed yet that you really want to? It's just like something like bubbling, an idea bubbling in the back of your head.
I think I'm going to actually do one probably July or early August. I want to do a really good Doppelbock. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm leaning toward with my my lager setup, is to be able to just pull out like a really good Doppelbock, get some of those candy notes, some of the caramel, just make it real nice, but keep it light enough that it's easy to drink and boozy enough that people get the value for their dollar.
You're not going to do like a cilantro lime, like Chipotle Doppelbock or something like that, though. Like it's going to be like
I've got this problem, which it's a problem in the current beer industry, in that I like classic styles.
I'm with you.
So 100% there with you.
You know, I'm pulling down clear beer. I'm making it so that it just tastes like it should. And it's like, if I can make a Doppelbock that tastes like a really good Doppelbock, that's what I'm going to do. Which is where I'm at with my cold one with the American Light Lager, which is where I'm at with this Honey Pills, is like, I'm not messing around. I just want to have a good beer. So
there's something really to be said about that too, keeping it simple, not having a whole bunch of these adjunct beers on tap. Like I honestly really appreciate that when I can go into a brewery and just see a lot of classic styles up on the board.
if they have any lager at all, it's usually a win.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
it-
it's like, wow.
I mean, from a business standpoint, lagers are not that efficient just
Sure,
because they take longer to ferment. They're a little bit finicky. So yeah, putting out a hoppy ale or putting out a fruit heavy adjunct beer, that's a good business choice because then you're turning it around in 3 weeks and you're just
Absolutely.
ready to go. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm totally into the, like, I mean, I've got this Berliner Weiss on tap right now, and it's just tart and bright. And if you want it to be a different flavor, we'll put a little bit of syrup in it.
Yeah.
But it's not lacing your glass. It's not leaving you with a bunch of fruit pulp to chew on.
Which if I'm not mistaken, this syrup is actually classic to style, right?
Oh yeah,
It is.
yeah.
yeah.
The way that the Germans worked at I guess the Berliners at that point, because all the regions are different. The way they used to do it was they would have just high acidity in their water. So when they brewed their wheat beer, it was just too tart for them. And they're like, okay, we got to make this better. So they would add the syrup after the fact just to kind of sweeten it up a little bit. So yeah, very traditional. And it's just the way it always was. And, keeping with the style.
Brandon's asking about if you do a Munich Dunkel. Are you just talking about the base malt, Brandon? Brandon, I think, just put out a Dunkel recently too. I'm sorry, a Doppel.
I haven't done a Munich Dunkel in years. We did one when we were still homebrewing, and that was actually, I made a lagerator out of a chest freezer, and that was one of the first ones that I did on that. We did a Munich Dunkel and a Helles, and those two turned out really well. And that was my first foray into lagers. So probably I want to get a Doppelbock set just because for fall and once the weather turns cold, that's a real good one to have around. But I might do a Dunkel before that, just for September, because they're nice and light, but they got a real good character.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and I say this because it's just not getting warm, but that whole brewer mentality of like, oh, it's warm now, I need to start thinking about brewing cold weather beer.
Yep.
That's as a growing up as a home brewer, or I guess becoming more experienced as a home brewer. That's something that I feel like it takes you a little while to get into. When it starts getting to fall, you're like, oh, then now I want to brew those beers. Like, no, you gotta brew those beers in like June.
Yep.
July.
Is it too hot to think about a stout? You should probably brew a stout.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Well, awesome. Is there anything you wanted to call out, Dane, as far as like your your brewery, like other things that you got going on? We're approaching an hour, so I figure we're doing all right.
I've got no real shout outs. Just keep an eye on usually our Facebook page is probably our best source to find out like when we have live events like music and different things. So yeah, check that out. Keep an eye on it because we have a lot of, and I guess this is one thing I want to shout out to is like the level of the quality of some of the musicians in the Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids area. Just top notch. We try to get a lot of different ones. Some of our good ones include Carrie McFerrin, Patty Pershela, Anna P.S., our good friend Bill Johnson, who's played here pretty much every month since we opened. Wow. We always try to do live music on Friday nights just to give people something to do. But yeah, we're always scouting for new acts and new people and never really disappointed in who we find. So yeah, that's one of the things is like it kind of goes hand in hand with the craft beer lifestyle is like finding some good music and just enjoying a beer with friends. And that's kind of what the Distant Whistle is all about, is just making this nice social atmosphere where you can have a good beer, have a good time.
Do you guys do that with like the live music and the social district or the social area?
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, since it opened, we had 2 weekends where it was too cold for them to play outside, but
Yep.
we set up our festival tent out front. We've got a really good PA system here, so we set that up, and then they can play for the whole social district, and people can spread out, listen to music, have some beers, go to all the other bars in town, get a mixed drink, do what they want to do.
Awesome. That sounds like a good weekend.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a good start.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Make sure to like Distant Whistle. Make sure to like South Brew or South County Homebrew.
There's a slur.
South Brew. Yeah. We've only had like 3 beers. Like,
It has.
I guess I'd vote for the show. And then Dane, it's been great having you on, man. So
yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming on tonight. So
yeah,
we'll eventually circle back probably with you guys, at some point in time in the future too. We just like to kind of keep up on current events for all the brewers that we love in the state and stuff. So
absolutely.
Absolutely one of them. So all right.
All right.
I'm gonna try to do Jason's outro here. We'll see if that works, and usually we talk through it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
During the intro, like it mutes us, but apparently it doesn't during the outro. But
that's
all
nice.
right, thanks everybody. Have a good night.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.